Well, hello everyone. This is Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child. We are halfway through, excuse me, halfway through our homeschool planning boot camp. Y'all are doing great. Let me give you a virtual high five. Y'all are doing great. I have loved seeing the response on day 1 and 2, the times that you're going to spend time with God, the one goal. Remember, we used that one goal again on Tuesday. And so that goal should be what you're starting with first. So you make sure that you always get it done. Yesterday, we talked about scheduling and planning, and we talked about what are the subjects that you must do every day, and that relieves the pressure so that if you don't get to everything on your lesson plan or your schedule, that's okay because you did the most important things. We understand that kids have meltdowns, that surprises happen, life happens, and so we may not be able to do every single thing that we have written down on a schedule or a plan. We also talked about routines. So, um, I think that was it. There were some bonus ways that you could enter as well, but I think you have to watch the videos to do that. Today we're going to be talking about getting organized in your home, your homeschool, and your family, all three ways. But one thing I have forgotten the last 2 days is to get us started with prayer. And I don't know why. I think I just sort of vegged out. I don't know. So let me pray, and then we're going to talk about getting organized. Father, thank you for today. Thank you for sunshine where I am, even though it's freezing cold. And just thank you for who you are. Thank you for Jesus. Thank you for the sacrifice he made for us. And we thank you that he saves us from our sins. I thank you for each mom here and their desire to pour into their kids and to home educate them, and yet to do things better and to get better at doing that and to raise their kids in godliness. I pray that you will give each one of them wisdom as they make decisions through this week for this coming semester. And I just pray that you would bless them, give them an extra blessing just for all that they are doing to pour Jesus into their children. And it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay. All right, so let's talk about this. First of all, let's talk about the problems that I've been hearing, and then we're going to talk about the solutions. I put it at the top of the 30-minute reminder, but getting organized in our homeschool. How do we keep all those documents organized? How do we set up shop for a year? Like we've got units and different learning styles. How do we stick with it? And then my downfall. All those freebies, all those digital things. What do we do with all of them so that we remember they're there when it's time to use them again? I've got some ideas for you. What about your home? Getting organized in your home. How do we get our chores done so you can focus on learning with your kids? There's less clutter and better space. How do we get our kids to help? Got some ideas on that. And I don't know about you, but my kids wanted to eat 3 meals a day all the time. When will it ever end? So I've got something on there. All right, so let's start off with that homeschool problems. So what I would suggest, let's talk about the books, the resources, the physical things that you need to do. Books, I would invest in bookshelves. We have bookshelves in every room. Even in one of our bathrooms, we have a little bookshelf in, but every room has bookshelves. Our kids always had bookshelves. And so I used the bookshelves for different things. The kids had their books and maybe the books that they were reading there. The other thing you could use are baskets. But when we started to homeschool, we were blessed to be able to build some built-in bookshelves in our living room. They look like they just came with the living room, but that has helped me tremendously. The bottom are a cabinet, and they are stuffed full of books still. Now, how do you organize these? Here's what I would suggest so they actually get read. On the bottom, in the baskets, I would put toddler and preschool books because they're easy for toddlers and preschools to get, and put them maybe in their bedroom or where y'all are homeschooling. On the bottom, I would put the kindergarten, the young kids. Then I would move to elementary, older elementary, middle school, and then put high school and adults at the top. Why? Because it's easy for them to reach. Now, for me personally, I would like to put all the science books together, the history books in chronological order together, blah, blah, blah. I would like to do it that way. But I know that's not probably what's best for my kids, for them to consume them, to pull them out, and to read them. So I get my bookshelves ordered in that way. Another thing for physical, like art supplies, science supplies, all of that, what do? Just go get some of those big Rubbermaid tubs. And one of those big, I'm talking big, Rubbermaid tug to put all your art supplies in one, and I put all my science supplies in another. We actually did have a shelf for all our games. My girls actually use the top of a closet to put all their games in as well, and that keeps them organized. The ones that the kids can play with are in a small little, or not small, they're in a cubby in their playroom that they can pull out and play with, so they're accessible. But that's the biggest thing, is if you're going to have supplies, you want them to be accessible. Now, for me, I actually had a desk where I could actually plan. So at my desk, which is right there, I had some shelves, and I could keep all the curriculum and all my planning and everything in one place. You may not have a special place. All right, I would go back to some sort of tub, something that you can pull out, or a crate of some sort that keeps this year's curriculum there. You can put the other curriculum on a shelf if you're not using it. Why have it out? It'll be there for next year when you need it. So that's that. Now, what about paperwork? I don't know about you. Yeah, you may be planning all online. You probably are. But I still like paper. And so I actually kept, I am old school, manila folders. And I will just show you. It's not, oh, it's really messy over here. So don't think of my organization. But you can see right there is a filing cabinet. And that is the filing cabinet that I use to keep all my homeschool folders in. I'll even show you, because that is my desk right there that I used. Yes, it's not the cleanest. I don't use that desk anymore. Now it's just storage. But I use a file folder. This file folder right here, if you look closely, says lesson plans 1999 to 2000. Every time I wrote a lesson plan, I put it in here. There were several reasons I did that, so that if anyone ever came and checked up on me, I had all our lessons. And when I was taking grades, which was just older kids, I would write their grades on there. When it came time for high school, I used my folders, my 4 folders for whatever years they did high school, for a transcript. I didn't really talk about that, but that's how I stayed organized and made sure we were doing what we needed to do. Um, and then, like I said, I did use bookshelves here for my curriculum guides that I was using myself. So for the paperwork, I use folders, I use a filing cabinet, and little files, different things. So I also would use that for a unit study. Anything that I needed to print out, I could use one whole filing cabinet drawer that pulls out, and that would be homeschool, because Steve was using one for business, and then I had old stuff, just personal, like quilting stuff that I had there. But I had one whole drawer just for homeschool. So when I printed it out, it was there. Now, if you need to figure it out, I had lesson plans. You could do history, you could do science, you could do math, and have your different folders in there if you need to. All right, digital. Ouch. Oh, me. No, this is me. I've got problems with this. What do I do now? I use Google Drive, because I think it's the easiest place. It's accessible on my desktop, my laptop, any device I'm on. So how do I set up my Google Drive? If I were doing it, I'm not homeschooling, but if I were doing it, first of all, it's free. If you don't have a Gmail account, set one up and you have a Google Drive. So I would organize this by making a folder for every subject that you are studying or working through. And inside that folder, you could do grades, whatever age. That would be me. Some of you would rather make a folder for each child, but I'm trying to organize all the things that I get that I will use in the future. And if I have science, when I get ready to do science, and may I'm studying a new science subject, I can go in there and see, because inside of there I will have subfolders. It could be by grade level, or it could be by topic, whatever you decide to do. History, actually I probably wouldn't do grade level. Math, I would do like grade level. History and science, I would do by topics. History, I would do by Egypt, Greece, Rome, Middle Ages, Renaissance, Reformation, American, so on and so forth. And that way, when I was studying it, all I have to do is go find that folder, and I can open it up and see. This is the same thing that you would want to do. I had someone say, how do I stay organized? I need to print, laminate, cut, get all that stuff together. I would, if that's the case, when I get something, I would put that in a monthly file, and maybe I'm going to use that. Maybe I bought something in September, but I don't need it till February. I put it in my February file. So one of those folders could be monthly, and then you could have your things for the year that you've already looked through, or you can put it in the subject area, either way. Same with unit studies. I would put the unit studies, if you know you're going to do them at certain months of the year, then get that monthly file and put them in there. And that way, at the beginning of each month, February's coming around, you open it up and you go, oh, yeah, I forgot I had this. Because I've had some moms tell me, oh, I bought this. And then when we studied it, I found it later, even physical things. So, I mean, like resources. So, how do we do this? What I would encourage you to do is set an alarm on the first day of every month. And it says monthly file or check monthly file, and you go check it. And if you need to, set a bunch of reminders like 2 or 3 days ahead of time and even a day or two afterwards for the whole week so that you remember to go check it. I need a lot of reminders. All right. The other thing I would encourage you is as you're getting organized, how do we know what to store and what to keep? Think about it. If you had a proven plan to get to homeschool, how would that help you get organized? Think about that. If you had a proven plan on how to homeschool, how would that help you get organized? You can leave a comment if you want. I forgot to say leave comments. Anyway, I know for me, if I knew I had a plan and again, that one goal, then that would help me get rid of the books I don't need right now. And it would focus on the curriculum or the books or the resources or the supplies that I need right now this year. And so I just think that we go back to that one goal. If you need some more help on following a proven plan, next Tuesday I will be teaching my 4 steps to raising Christian leaders in your homeschool. And I'm going to give you a proven plan that I know works. It worked for me, but I have other homeschool moms that have used it. I had one mom say, I was going to give up on homeschooling until I started working through some of the plan that you gave me. And now I've got a whole different attitude. Wow, that made me feel good that she was using something I'm using and she's not going to quit homeschooling. Anyway, you can find that at howtohomeschoolmychild.com/4, the number 4 steps. So that's homeschool. Now, what about your home? How do we get all that housework and everything? Let's just go quickly. Housework, laundry. I was a once a week, I mean, some of y'all are once a week laundry gal, and then that's all you do it. Some of you are, let's do it a little bit every day. I was a twice a week. I did on Monday and Thursday. Do whatever works for you. And then be consistent with it. Get your kids to help. They can fold clothes, they can put their clothes away. So start teaching your kids how to do things. You may have already done that, but there are a lot of skills that your kids can learn: how to clean a bathroom, clean the kitchen, vacuum, sweep, mop, dust. There are all sorts of things that they can do. And so I think it's important that we teach don't assume that they're going to do it. Teach your kids how to do it, then give them grace when they don't do it to your expectations. Hey, at least they did something and it's a little less than you have to do. And if they're doing it and it's really bothering you, lower your expectations, but then go back and say, you did a great job on this, but here's a little bit, like, on the toilet, no one, it didn't even wiped around by the floor or even on the base of it. So that's something next week when you clean the bathroom, do it. When you give your kids a task to do, give them more than 1 week to practice it. I would encourage you to give them a task for 2 or 3 months to where they really get it, and then you can let go of it because you have taught them. It takes time. It takes time for me to learn it, and so it takes other people, your kids as well. I had a college kid come and clean my house, and I paid her for it. And I thought, when she was done, I thought, my kids are going to know how to clean a house. They're going to know how to clean a bathroom, because she didn't know how to do any of that. And so that was important to me. The other thing is cooking. Like I said, my kids keep wanting to eat 3 meals a day. And if you've heard me talk, I love cooking breakfast. That was just something I enjoyed. You may not like it. I love cooking dinner. Lunches, I don't like those. So I did a few things. One thing is I just kept a list of about 10 lunches that my kids liked. They didn't all like it. Like, some like burritos, like I think 2 of them like burritos and 1 didn't. But 2 of them like macaroni and cheese and 1 didn't. Well, that was too bad. You're all going to eat whatever we fix. And, we weren't really into sandwiches. I know that's easy. We were more into like crackers and cheese. But I kept a list, and I kept those supplies on hand. And then I would just rotate through the list of what we were eating. I also, breakfast, I just kept a meal plan. And I know that takes time, but I think it's important. You could go through and just sometimes I would make a 30-day meal plan. We had leftovers on Sunday night. I actually would get my china out, and I would get all the leftovers out when they were at Awana's, and I would cut it up in little bite-sized dainty pieces, and then they could just choose whatever they wanted, and we got to use my china. So that's a little different thing that we would do. I actually have an easy family meals recipe book for you, and it's at how I'm going to put the link in here, howtohomeschoolmychild.com/family hyphen meal hyphen ideas. And so that would be something that you can use. These are just, and then we have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and some crock pot ideas, which leads me to my last thing. Use your crock pot, use your Instant Pot. My girls have their Instant Pot. I don't, but I lived with my crock pot when I was homeschooling because I knew that I could put something in at breakfast or lunch and it was done. And usually I just had to throw in a side or two. Sometimes the sides were inside the crock pot. And so I know I've given some crock pot recipes away. I have some recipe books, but usually I give those away with some of my courses that I sell. But in that Easy Family Meals recipe book, that should give you some ideas. And it sort of talks about ideas on getting control of cooking. Finally, teach your children to cook. Yes, even Hunter, my son, wants to learn. When he came back from Spain or somewhere, he's like, "Mom, I want you to give me some cooking lessons." He had taken a 3-week trip, 3-month trip before he went to work, and I was like, "Okay, all my kids know how to cook." Gentry said, "I'm only going to bake," until she had to live on her own because she didn't like to cook. She knew how to cook, but she did not know how to cook. I will tell a story on Gentry. My dad was having open heart surgery in Houston. They were still up in Idaho, and so Gentry and Ashley were doing the cooking that week for the family. And she calls me about, I don't know what time, but she goes, "Mom, what do you do to fix, like, I sliced up the sausage and I cooked it and I sort of burn it. How do you fix that?" And so I was like, "Can you add some oil to it and take away the burntness or something?" I just thought that was funny. But she was practicing. Yes, it's not always a success, but they learn how to cook. They actually all enjoy cooking now and are really good at it, but they all make a plan. Okay, we're going to end with, we had homeschool, we have home, now marriage and family and all the things. I'm going to start with marriage. Schedule date nights or you won't do them probably. Even home date nights. We didn't have the money to go out and pay for a babysitter many years. And so we would, in fact, I was talking to the kids at Christmas time when I would see them. We didn't all get together, but and they were saying, "Oh yeah, we remember y'all would put us to bed and then y'all would have a quiet dinner at the dining room table." And I was like, "Yeah, we did." I remember one time I strung Christmas lights in July in the living room and set up the card table. And after Steve had put the kids to bed, he came in and saw this. And it was it was a fun dinner for us to have, just the two of us. You need time by yourselves. I personally think your kids need to go to bed at least an hour or two before you do. That's another tip. And marriage, pray together. Your husband may not be open to it, but pray for him to be open to it. And definitely pray as a family. Pray at meal times, pray before you go to bed, pray in your family devotions, pray together. And then I think you need to think about your family in the evening times. And I think you need to personally quit doing all the activities. There's so many, all the things, and start having fun building relationships, whether that's read aloud or playing a game, whatever. I think it will be important, that is super important. And if you're playing a game, your kids won't even know that they are learning. Would that help your homeschool if you were playing? I told a story yesterday or the day before, I think the day before, about playing games. And that encourages a love of learning, and they don't even know they're learning. What would it be like if your kids really like to learn and enjoy that? How would that change the pressure that you feel? Now, again, I mentioned the 4 steps to raising Christian leaders in our homeschool. One of those steps is love of learning, and I'll be delving more into that as well. The very last thing is slow down. Oh, I wish I had my little sticker. I'll bring it tonight. Hunter works for a company called Slow Yourself Down. I have a sticker on my desktop upstairs. Slow down. That's all I'm really going to say. Slow down. And then I think we can keep our family on task and organized, focused on Jesus, building relationships within our family. Now, If you have questions, leave them here. If I haven't covered something, leave a comment here. I'll answer them tonight. But our challenge today is, what one area will you commit to improving in your homeschool organization or your home organization? And then write the date that you're going to check back. Are you going to, today's the 12th? Are you going to check back on February 12th and see what kind of improvement you made? So just write down that one area that you are going to improve, or what your strategy is that you're going to do. Number two, what household tasks can you teach and delegate to your kids? So what I would like you to do on this is, on your post-it, write each child's name, and next to it, write the one task. You may be teaching them all the same task, I don't know. But what one task will you teach? Because a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old have different abilities. The 3-year-old might be learning how to fold a washcloth and a towel and their socks, I don't know, and then how to put their clothes in their drawer. So teach your kids something. What is it going to be? And write that down. That's super simple. Just write it down. Share it with us. I can't wait to see what you have to say. And then explain to your kids what part they are going to be taking in the care of your home, and when they will do that task after you teach them how. For us, we tended to all work on it for an hour or two together, and then have fun, put some music on, put a timer on. So any questions, leave a comment below. We'll talk about those tonight. Thanks so much for spending time with me. Carrie Beck, How to Homeschool My Child. High five again for the great job y'all are doing on your challenges. I'll talk to y'all later.